Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis, and this is a daily analysis where we're gonna move with the all-time frame to see what to expect today based of course on the all-time history as well, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5 finished wave 1 or a wave A. You're looking in both case scenario for an A, B and a C toward the downside. After this, you are looking for continuation toward the upside, whether in a big wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5, or you're looking for a big wave A, B, and a C toward the upside. Meaning in both case scenarios, you're looking, of course, for an impulse where you have finished the wave 1 of this impulse. In this area, the last bull run that we have is playing the wave 1 of this impulse toward the upside. Meaning currently you are in a wave 2 in a bear market, very short bear market, where you would like to reach the minimum time 0.38 fib time in October 2025 potentially, or after it as a perfection you would like to hit it in May 2026. If you take a look closer at the previous bear market, you can see that it didn't took more than 2 years as well. And we probably, of course, this bear market might even take even a little bit less, since we have started to accelerate anyway the movement of Bitcoin. As you can see, it was topping every cycle a little bit before, of course, the previous all-time high. And as you can see for this bull run, we have, of course, a very, very huge gap in time here in comparison with the older all-time high. And we can see that Bitcoin is accelerating in price and in, of course, time. Meaning this bear market might be very short in time and also in price. Why also in price? If we zoom in inside this area here, we can see that we have a very strong support here area, which is your older wave 4. This is a very stronghold support, which is also between the 0.38 and 0.23 fib level. Normally Bitcoin on the logarithmic chart only, of course, and only Bitcoin does this. On the logarithmic chart, it is very rare that it can not touch the 0.38. Meaning when you are especially in a wave 3 over 3, if we take an example 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5 as a wave 1 here, you will see that the wave 2 has started to move towards the upside without hitting the 0.38, kind of like fighting gravity and moving very, very fast towards the upside. We might see the same, of course, again inside this area. Please note that this is only on the logarithmic chart. If you remove the logarithmic chart, you will see the price hitting 100% the 0.38 and moving toward the upside. However, I use the logarithmic chart because it shows much more precise a pattern. Of course, for Elliott wave analysis, it is much more accurate and precise. Therefore, we have to be careful inside this zone. We might, of course, get the wave 2 in the middle here exactly and start to move towards the upside. So we're gonna watch this and we're gonna be ready so we don't miss the trade. What you are looking for inside this bear market, you're looking, of course, for an A, B, and a C as basic Elliott wave. In case, of course, it's gonna unfold in 3 waves, same as for every bear market before. As you can see, A, B, and a C for every single bear market that we saw. Not so much complicated bear markets, and we might see the same as well again as an A, B, and a C for Bitcoin, and then moving toward the upside. Currently, we are in a wave A, potentially finished, and you're looking for a wave B for your wave A, and we're looking for a wave C to finish a major wave A, meaning B, C, finishing this bear market and moving toward the upside. On the daily chart inside this last bull run that we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, we have top potentially and higher possibility, of course, a wave 1 here for your big impulse toward the upside as 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, continuation toward the upside. This is what I explained just on the parabolic chart, where we saw, of course, this wave 2 might be unfolding in an A, B, and a C. Currently, you are in the middle of your wave A, and you're looking to finish it, of course, in a wave C. You have an A, B unfinished potentially. It can be, of course, finishing in several scenarios. We're gonna see it on the 4-hour chart next. and of course moving toward the downside for a wave A, and of course a rebound, and then wave C later on, and then potentially moving toward the upside. On the 4-hour time here, we can see, of course, that we have finished 3 waves toward the downside for a wave A. You are potentially in a first possibility for a running triangle A, B, C, D, E to finish a wave B here, and then moving impulsively toward the downside to hit, of course, the 1-to-1 fib level 1.05 at 64.63K, of course, for this wave A, and then of course rebound toward the upside to move, of course, for the final wave of this bear market. In the second possibility, where we have a WXY for your wave B after 3 waves down for your A, your wave B can take the shape of a W, finished of course as a running flat. You can have an X here as a zigzag, since we have an impulse already here, looking for a wave B and a C to finish a zigzag, and of course therefore finishing another structure for the Y, which it can be of course even a triangle sideways here, and then moving down for a wave C. Of course this wave C target depends on the wave Y, where it can of course hold on in case we are in WX and Y. However, it should be of course between the 60 and the 64,000 as well, same as the older scenario. Another scenario, which is typical Elliott wave pattern, where you might have finished 3 waves toward the downside for the wave A, you're looking for a wave B as well here, and you're looking for direct impulse toward the downside, of course, for an A, B, and a C, of course, to finish this corrective wave, and finishing it very fast, of course, in a very simple 3 waves down, 3 waves up for the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. This scenario requires an impulse, which we already got it, meaning increasing the possibility of it. In case we are looking toward the downside, we are looking right now for this wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5 toward the downside. Currently, this is the second highest possibility on, of course, our daily today, and we're gonna see which one is gonna unfold. Are we gonna have a zigzag, testing the 1-to-1 fib level without overshooting it, or are we gonna have 1-2 overshooting the 1-to-1 fib level, moving for a wave 3, meaning 4 and a 5, heading towards the target 62K potentially in this case scenario? A third very possible or high possibility that we might have here a W, X, Y, X, and a Z. In this scenario, where you might have a W, X, Y, and then X and a Z potentially here, having of course a zigzag, but this zigzag is gonna be of course deeper, taking the low here without reaching an impulse toward the downside, as we saw of course in the previous possibility to hit the wave C, rather than hitting wave C, hitting a wave Z here, and then of course in a zigzag. And in this case scenario, you will finish 3 corrective waves here for the W, for the Y, and for the zigzag, which are matching each other almost, of course, in a nice pattern WXYXZ. This possibility is a less possibility, of course, of the impulse and of the triangle that we might have, of course, like a shallow zigzag in a triangle and then moving toward the downside. A last possibility, I would say, for today, which it might be, of course, unfolding as well, is having, of course, a zigzag as well, taking the low in an ending diagonal, rather than being in W, X, Y, X, and a Z, transforming this into a corrective waves again, and having, of course, a wave 5 here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and you have to consider that your corrective wave A has finished exactly in this area. It has finished very, very high regarding, of course, the other possibilities here. You did not reach even the 60s. You still, of course, around the 73, where you have finished, of course, 3 waves down for your A. Very fast wave B, of course, in 3 waves up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for an ending diagonal, of course, finishing a wave C, meaning finishing main wave A of this bear market, looking for higher again and moving towards the downside. If this scenario happens, this would be, of course, a very, very closer to our possibility where the next target, of course, of a wave C might reach only this middle area of this structure, which is a stronghold structure here, where we might see, of course, a very, very strong bull run starting again from there, and that because, of course, even the wave A is very shallow in target. Currently, the highest possibility is going for a triangle until, of course, we break this low. Once you take this invalidation here, this is your invalidation of the triangle, meaning you are opening the other scenario for, of course, in this area. Yeah, invalidation of triangle. Once we take this price, of course, which is the lower of your wave B in this triangle A, B, C, D, E, if we, of course, take now in a zigzag, somehow you open, of course, the possibilities and higher potential, of course, for an impulse first or a finished WXYXZ or an ending diagonal wave 3. So you still have 4 and a 5. Or next is, of course, the impulse toward the downside. We're going to see, of course, in this area, it's going to be a critical area a little bit. It's going to be tested, of course, with some fibs to get much more closer to which possibility we might shift, of course, in this area. Now, let's move, of course, for the 1 hour chart. On the 1 hour chart, so of course lately we have analyzed this area where we saw, of course, a leading diagonal here. Potentially I prefer to keep it as a leading diagonal. It is the highest possibility since, of course, we hit the 886 here, and in this 1-2 it looks like an expanding diagonal. Therefore I prefer to consider this is a wave 2 truncated and starting, of course, your wave 3 here of a leading diagonal 1 2 3 4 5 to finish wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, and a 5. Your wave 5, obviously, it is unfolding as an ending diagonal, meaning we are still looking for lower, potentially to hit perfectly this blue box, which is already our target, already hit once, and of course it is repeating right now several times in an ending diagonal. Potentially it can still even take the ATK 800, and that because even if you get an extended wave 5, it's still, of course, shorter than your wave 3. Yeah, so very potential even to take the ATK 800. That was it for Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and I wish you, of course, a nice trading day. Bye-bye.